thanks for checking out our most recent adventure. We're at Lake Moultrie in South Carolina. So Anna had never been to South Carolina before, so we picked a spot on the map, found an Airbnb, and took a drive. It's beautiful. There's lots of stuff to do in Charleston, which is just south of here. And gonna find what we find and explore. So typically for trips like this, we'll break open Google Maps and drop a whole bunch of pins on things that sound interesting, and once we make our trip down, we see how the weather is and see which ones we can do, which ones we wait until next time. And so you never can predict the weather. And of course we took a trip to South Carolina where 3 days are going to have a reasonable chance of rain. Even today we had a pretty torrential downpour, but it's all in good fun. The adventure never ends, it just changes sometimes. Can't complain. Doesn't get a whole lot better than that. So not every adventure is going to be in the FJ. Sometimes we have to take fuel economy into consideration and just do what's a little bit more comfortable. But you know, as we start work on our overlanding trailer, things will get a little bit more interesting there. We'll be able to take longer trips in that, be more self-sufficient. So that'll be some good times as soon as we figure out our design and what we want in there and what's a little over the top. But stick around and see what kind of crazy stuff we get into. Stopping for a night to visit friends in Virginia, we were invited to visit one of the local sites. Natural Bridge in Rockbridge County, Virginia, is a 215-foot high natural arch spanning 90 feet over Cedar Creek. Explored by settlers in 1742, the area was sacred to the native Monacan tribe who believed the site to be that of a centuries-old battle. Opened in 2016 as Natural Bridge State Park, it's the only state park on private land. Purchased from King George III by Thomas Jefferson for 20 shillings in 1774, the site has been frequented by many famous Americans and was a New World attraction for European tourists through the 18th and 19th centuries. What you may not pick up on without knowing is that US Route 11 actually runs right over the bridge. George Washington allegedly came to the site as a young surveyor in 1750, where he carved his initials in the stone. The bridge is quite the sight because formations like this are not common on the US East Coast. I definitely recommend anyone visit, it's amazing. After our short stay in Virginia, it was time to continue our travels south to our Airbnb outside of Charleston. Lake Moultrie is the third largest lake in South Carolina and was man-made back in the 1940s. Frequented for fishing and boating, we found a reasonably priced two-bedroom trailer home just a couple minutes from the lake that would work as a base of operations for our visit. We were planning on spending most of our time in Charleston, but we still spent some time back at base and at the lake.
iPad, really?
For our first real meal in South Carolina, you know we had to find some decent biscuits. We turned to our list of pins to plan the day and settled on Vicious Biscuit. It didn't disappoint.
How's breakfast?
Good.
Yeah?
Double thumbs up.
How about you?
Good. Apple pie.
Best waffle ever?
Apple pie and bubbles.
Oh, thanks. How's that?
2 thumbs up.
Commissioned in 1943, the CV-10 took part in several campaigns in the Pacific Theater of Operations, earning 11 battle stars and the Presidential Union Citation. Named for the Battle of Yorktown, the CV-10 is the fourth U.S. Navy ship to bear the name, after the CV-5 was sunk in the Battle of Midway. Modernized over the years into an attack carrier and later an anti-submarine carrier, she served many years in the Pacific, including the Vietnam War, where she earned 5 more battle stars. Later, the carrier served as a recovery ship for the Apollo 8 space mission. The Yorktown CV-10 was decommissioned in 1970 and would soon find its current home at Patriots Point, being designated a National Historic Landmark. Walking the decks of this ship is surreal, even as a prior service member. In basic training, you learn the rich history inherited when you enlist, but it's humbling to stand in the place others have served and even gave their lives to protect ours and others' freedoms. Sometimes it's hard to teach the kids that machines like this even need to exist, that people die in our defense. But this is one way to honor the memories of those 141 brave souls who paid the ultimate sacrifice. Another one of those random pins with a 4.5-star review brought us to the Sunrise Bistro. While most of us got your typical breakfast fare, you know someone had to try the house specialty, right? But it's not a problem when it happens.
Collards, chicken fried steak, and a happy man. The beautiful Angel Oak is a 400 to 500-year-old southern live oak located on Johns Island. At 65 feet tall and a trunk circumference of 28 feet, it shades over 1,700 square feet. It really is a must-see for anyone traveling through the area. Bowen's Island Restaurant is an unassuming location for good low country food. Accepting a James Beard Award in 2006, we found it to be a great stop with a great view of the local wetlands. The food was fantastic, from the boiled peanuts and deviled eggs to the seafood platter and shrimp and grits. A worthy meal before ending the day with a walk out to a lighthouse view.
How does it stay like that?
You don't touch the table.
Yeah? I don't know what kind of seagull it is, but I think you're right.
The Lighthouse Inlet is an 80-acre preserve on the National Register of Historic Places due to it being the site of significant battles during the Civil War. Today, its coast is a common place for sea turtles to lay their eggs and offers a half-mile paved bike and walkway to the far end with a view of the lighthouse. Over the years, the walkway has become controversially covered in graffiti. While we can appreciate the artwork, it's hard to overlook the potential damage this treatment can have on the local wildlife that the preserve seeks to protect. Regardless, we did enjoy the walk and the view at the end. Maybe it was the time of year that we visited, but even being doused in insect repellent, the mosquitoes were unbearable, so we didn't stay very long. It was time to head back and rest for the evening. Again, our forethought to drop pins all over the place served us well. The Queen Street Grocery was a classic neighborhood corner shop, serving crepes and sandwiches and drinks available to go. Celebrating 100 years, we could see why it's lasted so long, because our breakfast was perfect, and the unique cookie selection was definitely a hit with the kids. Captain Crunch cookie.
What does our official taste tester say? Good or bad? Like
Sounds good.
The Captain Crunch cookie.
No way.
You don't want a cookie?
What
Is that good?
Next on our list was the most touristy thing one can do, a bus tour. We felt it was a good way to just ride around the city to see some of the architecture, hear about some of the local history, and it even dropped us off a couple of bus rides from the aquarium, which is something we like to see when we travel. Having been to aquariums in Chattanooga, Baltimore, Camden, New Orleans, we had to make a stop at the South Carolina State Aquarium.
Where are we going?
We're at the aquarium. We're at the aquarium.
Mommy's gonna pet it. You got it? Did you touch his head?
Oh, what just came into
Look at the giant
See how they swim under the water? You can swim like that.
To survive. If they don't eat meat, they won't be able to survive. They're not like us. They can't chew seed vegetables. Their teeth and their body is designed only for meat. The young lady, you had a question, yeah?
to go?
Yes.
All right.
That hotel on the beach.
Back to the road.
With our time in South Carolina at an end, we planned some extra travel time to make some stops on the way home, stopping for lunch where I spent 4 years in what seems like a lifetime ago, and an overnight stay on the way to the Outer Banks. A few more worthwhile stops, and we were home, planning for our next adventure.
Welcome to the Outer Banks.
Oh, it's so perfect.
Thank you so much.
Now, I know this trip wasn't exactly on brand for Daemon Adventures, but it certainly was one. Thanks for joining us. We look forward to sharing whatever comes next.